Hey there, this is Dylan from Stupid Raisins, and this is how to use Music Pop. You'll find Music Pop in the title browser in Final Cut Pro and in the transition browser, both of them under the name Music Pop. Let's take a look at these titles. Let's play with Opener 1 first. Here's what that looks like. In the viewer, I can click on a word and it will open up the text inspector where I can change the word. I can also double click on a word in the viewer and I can now change it right there on screen. I can also use this on-screen control right here to move the word around. If I hover over a word and I get this white bounding box, I can click and drag on that to move it around as well. Let's take a look at customizing this title. Open up the inspector. If you don't see it open over here, click this button with the 3 sliders and then click on this square with the T. We can customize the in and out animations by turning them on and off. We can also customize this waveform here in the middle. We can change its color and its size and speed and a few other things. We can also change the text here. We can update what the word says. We can change the font, we can change the size as well, and a few other things including color. We have text options for all the text that you see on screen. We can also customize this line here in between these 2 text boxes. We can change the color, we can change its position, we can also change its size and thickness. Now let's take a look at adding some lyrics to our video. Let's add lyrics 1 to our project, and I'll make sure and line it up with when my singer is singing so that I get the lyrics lined up. I can also fine-tune it by clicking and dragging to change the duration on the beginning and end handles of the title clip. I'll select it and then I'll go to the inspector and I'll change the text right here. Then we can change the color of our lyric title. I'll just click on this and let's make it a light purple. And now as the person sings, it fills in with the purple color, creating a cool lyric. Alright, let's take a look at blurry handheld. I'll put this above my clip and then I'll adjust the duration. And here's what that looks like. It takes a shot and makes it look like it's being recorded with a handheld camera. Let's take a look at the parameters. We can turn it on and off the in and out animations. We can also tweak the blur. Right here we can see some blur in this picture. We can turn it up if we want it more blurry or down if we want it less blurry. We can also change the speed of the blur and we can add this cool prism effect. These parameters control how the handheld effect looks. We can turn the zoom on and off and adjust its speed, and we can also turn the horizontal movement of the handheld camera and the vertical movement of the camera on and off, and we can also adjust its speed, and we can also randomize it so that it has a different look every time. And then you can use rotation to turn on and off the camera rotation. Alright, now let's take a look at this fisheye effect. I'll put that above my clip, and then this is what we've got. This cool fisheye. It pops into a fisheye effect, and we have some customization. If we go to the inspector, we can turn on and off the in and out animation. We can also change the size of it. And on the sides here, you'll see this reflection here and here. We can customize that and give it a different color if we want, like a green reflection. Alright, let's take a look at this zoom effect. We'll put this above our clip and we'll go to the very beginning of the effect and select the clip, and you'll notice this on-screen control here, this rectangle. This is where it's going to zoom into and the size of it. So I want it over his face and I want to make it a little bit bigger, so I'll just click and drag on one of these handles here. There we go. And now if we play that back, you'll see it zooms into that section and then it zooms back out. If we take a look at the published parameters, Again, we can control the in and out animation. We have controls here for the center and the size. These are tied to that on-screen control that we see here at the beginning. This one. We can also increase the blur and prism effect during the zoom in. So if we move in a little bit, you can see there's some blur happening. We can turn that up if we want. We can also increase this prism effect where it adds some red and green and blue to the image. When you're zoomed in, the image might be a little soft. You can use these sharpen controls to make it look crisper. And here's what we've got. Add dusty lens loop to your project. And here's what that looks like. It adds this cool, dirty kind of lens light leak flares to it. This is looped, so I can make this longer and we won't have any skip in the animation. It resets and it loops back around, so you can have a long looping lens flare effect. In the parameters, we can change some things like the in animation. There's no out animation because it is loopable. We can also change the color of the dust if we want, and change the opacity. And we can change the color of the flare. Click this little arrow here, and then click on this first color selector, and then click here to change the color. We'll go from a purple to a dark purple. So I'll click the second one, and then I'll make sure that this one is selected, and then I'll select a dark purple. And we can change the opacity of that as well. And here's what that looks like. All right, let's take a look at the transitions. Click on the transition browser and go to Music Pop and drag and drop the transition between your two clips. This flash transition adds a lot of energy and is quick to use. There are no published parameters for it, but you can change the duration by clicking and dragging on the beginning or end handle for a slower flash transition if you want. All right, next let's take a look at these slide fade transitions. I'll add a couple between our clips here, and this is what they look like. Nice. If we select one of the transitions, we have some published parameters here. We can change the blur amount and the prism effect for a really stylized look. In the middle of this transition, it goes to a color. And right now it's set to black. We can change that if we want. Let's try a purple. And we can also tweak the opacity if we want it to be kind of see-through. And here's what that looks like. So that's how to use Music Pop. If you have any questions or need any help, just email me at raisinhater@stupidraisins.com. Happy editing!